But what we saw from that chemical spill is that when we don't have water, it creates a serious, serious situation.
The first 3 days after the spill, people were coming to work unshowered.
Well, in Charleston, I got a sense of uneasiness.
As we lose rivers and their value of drinking water and become dependent on very few, then we become very susceptible to something that would seem like to be a localized event. And instead, that localized event, it touched a third of the state, the residents. So there's a lesson in that, that the less we protect, the more dependent we become on a very, very scarce resource, and the more vulnerable then we are to spills like this.
We felt that flushing was going to sufficiently get it out of our pipes in the short term. And we still noticed things. The first shower that I took after everything had been flushed, and we followed the instructions to the letter about how West Virginia American Water suggested that you flush your pipes. And the two biggest things that I noticed was that, my skin did feel a little raw, would probably be the best way to put it. Not bad, but definitely you could tell there was a little something not right. And the soap didn't rinse properly. We don't have really hard water in Charleston, and when it took me a considerable amount of time to get all of the shampoo out of my hair, we thought, well, maybe we should wait a couple more days.
I distinctly remember when the do not use bans were lifted, people were able to flush their pipes, and we were explaining to people, this is the process that we've been told, this is the multi-step process you go through to flush out your pipes. But there were all these residual questions. Will any of the MCHM stay in my pipes? Will it cling to the metal? And what about my hot water heater? And no matter how many times we would explain the process as it had been explained to us, viewers weren't believing what they were hearing and what they were seeing. Because there had been that confusion in the beginning, and because there had been some mixed messaging early on and then throughout the rest of the process. And when that trust is broken, it's very difficult to regain that. And that was the biggest problem I think we faced, not only during the crisis, but months and months and months after.
I don't know that I would say that even still we officially trust the water. We have switched to bottled water, drinking and cooking, and we also have a tabletop distiller in case we can't get to a bottled water supply. So in that, I don't know that we'll ever trust the city water system in Charleston again. As far as bathing and washing clothes, within a couple of weeks, everything was otherwise back to normal while we figured out what we wanted to do in regards to our drinking water.
This was not handled well, in my opinion, at multiple levels. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact we were in uncharted territory. Some of it, I think, of our own making, some of it not. This was a chemical that we knew about and had been a part of the coal industry and the cleaning process for a number of years, but had not been studied very extensively. So we didn't have a lot of information from the scientific community to start with to know.
It was clear almost immediately that no one was prepared for something like that to happen. Of course, we found out later as time went on, in the coming days and weeks, what regulations did or didn't exist, what types of enforcement of the existing regulations were even being enforced. So I think that it became pretty clear pretty quickly that no one in Kanawha County or virtually anywhere in West Virginia was ready for something like that to happen.